Hey y'all, next up on our list of skills we need to learn is solving equations with square roots. So you looked in the last few days at the radical symbol and finding the square root of a number. For example, that equals the square root of 9. And you know that that actually means 3. 3 is the number that you would square or multiply by itself to get 9. So 3 times 3 equals 9. The square root of 9 is the opposite of that, it's just 3. Now we're going to look at solving equations with variables. So if you look back over here, this will be our first example. If we have an equation that says x squared equals 4, you know something about solving equations. What that means is solving for the variable. We have to find out what the value of x is. So with this one, we should be able to look at this and say, what number would you square to get 4? And remember, saying square is the same thing as multiplying it by itself. Just like over here in this example, 3 squared equals 9. In our equation, what number squared equals 4? Well, I bet you a bunch of you are saying, well, 2 squared is 4. Which is right, 2 squared is 4. So we can say that x can definitely be equal to 2. But the funny thing about this is, you know a little bit about multiplying positive and negative numbers. There's another possible answer here. Negative 2 is also equal to 4 when it's squared. Negative 2 multiplied by negative 2. A negative number times a negative number equals a positive number. So positive 4. So this is a little bit different. You can actually end up with two different answers to this equation. So x equals negative 2 or positive 2. And sometimes we'll actually see that as x equals positive negative 2. So let's look at one more example. Example number 2. Let's say that 16 equals the variable t squared. Well, what's the square root of 16? The square root of 16 is 4. Well, let's look at this equation using our inverse operations that we remember from solving single variable equations before. If I want to get t all by itself on the right side of this equation, taking the square root of a number is the opposite of squaring it. So if I want t just by itself, I have to take the square root of that whole term, t squared. And just like with addition and subtraction and multiplication and division, if you do it to one side, you've got to do it to both sides. Okay, so now we know that on the right side, the square root of t squared is just t. And the left side, we already determined that the square root of 16 is 4. And we know that that square root could also be negative 4. So t equals 4 or negative 4. All right, so take a look at that. You're going to have equations that look like this in the medium IXL topic for this week. And I will see you in class or in office hours or email or remind.